Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Suzanne Spencer. Of course, we'll get to those stories here in a moment, but first, breaking news tonight out of South Bend, where police have been called out on two separate stabbings that happened within just hours of each other. The latest stabbing happened around 8:45 in South Bend. Dispatch tells us a woman was stabbed in the head. It happened on the 1100 block of Portage Avenue. No word on the victim's condition, but we're told she was taken to the hospital and her injuries are not life-threatening. Still no word on a suspect in the case, and so far no arrest has been made. The other stabbing we've been following happened earlier in this evening about 804 South 24th Street. In this case, too, the stabbing victim was also a woman. She was attacked shortly before 8 p.m. And we've learned from South Bend Police Captain Phil Trent that one person is in custody in connection with this case. He says the victim's injuries are not life-threatening. Stay with WSBT 22 News as we learn more about both of these stabbings. Of course, we'll be on air and online at WSBT.com. Now to another big story we've continued to follow this weekend. Tonight, the family of a LaPorte County teen murdered 20 years ago is reacting to the conviction of her killer. Last night, a jury found Jason Tibbs guilty in the 1993 strangulation death of 16-year-old Raina Rison. Prosecutors say he killed her because she wouldn't date him. Today, WSBT 22 reporter Kristen Bean was the first reporter to sit down with the Rison family, who after 20 years finally have justice for Raina.
Wendy Hakes has now lived longer without her sister than she ever did with her.
You may recall Kristen profiled the Raina Rison cold case in depth last year on WSBT 22 News. About a month after that, Tibbs was arrested. He'll be back in court December 19th for sentencing. Two suspects who police say should be considered armed and dangerous are still on the loose tonight after a shooting this afternoon in South Bend. Police say a man was shot at a home in the 1900 block of Lincoln Way West. He was shot in the leg during an apparent robbery. Well, it's hard to know what to say about today's Notre Dame football game. The Irish looked just terrible in the first half against Arizona State, but then staged a huge comeback attempt in the second half. Really just an overall deflating performance from Notre Dame, though, thanks to their big play of their quarterback. 5 turnovers by Everett Golson in the desert. This was a top 10 matchup with Arizona State, a chance for the Irish to add a marquee win to their playoff resume. But they dug too big a hole in the first half. Golson put the ball on the ground, was picked off twice, and the Sun Devils turned those into 3 touchdowns, leading 31-3 in the second quarter. Now the defense gave Notre Dame a chance, and Golson would rally the team, finding a wide open Amir Carlisle, that is, to make it a 3-point game in the fourth. But ASU would hold off that rally, clinch the game with one final interception, another pick six. The Irish fall in Tempe 55-33. Now, so far, 24 points was the final margin of the defeat. ASU scored 28 points of those 5 turnovers. Simple math there. It's the second loss for Notre Dame this year and knocks them out of contention for the college football playoff. Well, for fans who got their hopes up during that brief shining moment when it was just a 3-point ball game, tonight's loss was hard to take.
It's a little harder, honestly, because we were all pumped up. We thought we were going to make that comeback. Next thing you know, they rip our hearts out with that pick six. But, I mean, at the same time, we know we're a good team. We know we have what it takes, but, it hurts.
Now, as Carl mentioned, tonight's loss virtually guarantees that the Irish will miss out on the college football playoff. More analysis coming up a little later in sports. A place closely associated with Notre Dame football was on the site of an emotional auction today. Maury's Pub in South Bend put up memorabilia up for bidding. Of course, this after Maury, the owner of the pub, passed away earlier this fall. WSBT 22's Patrick Roth has the story.
It's been a little less than a month since Maury Kokowit died.
The auction was set up by Maury's former employees who also catered the event. There's no word yet on what the future is for the former pub.
All night.
Well, it's one of the sights and sounds of the holidays approaching. You've all heard them, the Salvation Army bell ringers. As you woke up with WSBT 22's Saturday morning show, you saw those bright red kettles at the forefront of generosity here in Michiana. This location at the South Bend Farmers Market is a new one for the Salvation Army this year. And if you want to spread the cheer this holiday season by becoming a bell ringer, get in touch at the Kroc Center. We've got all that information for you on our website at WSBT.com. Well, still ahead here on WSBT 22 News at 11, she's the nurse who fought her quarantine. She's in Maine right now, but may be leaving soon. We'll tell you why coming up next. And Ed will be right back with us here in the WSBT 22 Forecast Center coming up.